What is up, everybody? Skratch coming up with another Raid Shadow Legends video. We are currently on the test server. In today's video, we're gonna have a look at one of the brand new champions that got released, and we're gonna see what sort of impact is that champion and the buff that is bringing to the game, the increased resistance, is gonna have on the game, on the PvE and on the PvP part of the game as well. Plarium mentioned a while ago that this will be the year of PvP. They're gonna try to bring in the resistance meta back into the game, while they're gonna bring new champions with unique abilities that increase resistance and stuff like that. Now we finally got one of those champions. I'm definitely expecting to see more of them in the near future. But before we jump over to talk about that, guys, if you enjoy the music you hear in the video, I partnered up with Soundstripe. They have an awesome music library. I will be leaving their link in the description down below and in the pinned comments. Plus, I can save you a 15% on checkout on any subscription. If we're gonna have a look at the champion, guys, he's actually a pretty nice one. I kind of like the looks of it. And he's a Force Affinity Dwarves Beauregard the Elder HP-based champion. So he's pretty damn tanky. Nice affinity as well to counter those strong magic nukas that we have in the game. The base speed is not that great on him. Now, I can't remember if I specified it on different videos or was just while I was talking on stream with a bunch of you guys, but I always said that if Plarium will want to bring in the resistance meta into the game, just having an increased resistance buff is not going to be enough, since it means that your champion will still have to go in front of the enemy, in front of their buff stripper or their debuffer, in order to ensure that he's going to be able to protect the team, you know? So we kind of have three different options. Maybe I'm missing something. Let me know in the comments down below. Definitely bring up your ideas if you have anything else. But I'm kind of seeing like three different ways, okay? Maybe four. So either you're gonna go like crazy fast with him to make sure he's gonna cut everyone else from the enemy team except probably the return meter booster, which is gonna be extremely hard to do for a defense team. And with this champion, it's very hard because his base speed is so low. So that option is kind of like off the table in my opinion. Second, you're gonna run him with immunity to protect him against Sifis, to don't slip him, protect him against Hegemons. But then that leaves him uncovered against Kymars, leaves him uncovered against Warlord, and probably a couple of other champions that they are in the game. Yumeko, maybe she's a popular champion, you know. Or you run him like this on Stone Skin set. Again, Warlord is gonna be his curse. Yumeko is gonna be his curse. There is no defense in this game that cannot be beaten. Everybody has his nemesis, okay? Every defense has the perfect offense to clap it, okay? That's kind of like the whole idea. Now, what you wanna do with your defense is to try to slow the enemy down so they don't attack you as often, you know? That's kind of like gonna be like your benefit. I'm not saying this is the perfect way to build him, definitely go Stone Skin or anything like that. I just chose to give him this build to try him out like that, since I have a 50% chance to protect against Kymar, and kind of like his main weakness here will be Warlord, okay? Or Yumeko. I kind of gotta get used to her as well. Now, total stats, he's not fast enough. I would love to get him faster. I haven't actually glyphed him. I just want to see like what sort of impact the increased resistance will have in the game, and kind of to give you my take on it, you know? So this is what we can expect from this champion in terms of stats. I like that he's tanky. I like that he's a Force Affinity. Now, in terms of Masteries, I went with defense and support. The fourth way to build this champion will be a bit slower, give him resistance as well, but then you're gonna get debuffed, okay? So if you're gonna go with resistance on all your team and just hope that he's not gonna get debuffed and you're gonna manage to increase the resistance on your team, which is kind of like counterproductive, you're gonna get wrecked if they're gonna use an increased accuracy. They're just gonna one-shot your team or two-shot your team and send you to sleep, you know? So I actually went with Timely Intervention as tier 6 for a mastery. Of course, getting a Bulwark won't be a bad idea. I went with this in case if we're not gonna cut anybody and my champions, they're gonna survive. Maybe he's gonna get to increase the resistance afterwards. His Termiter is gonna get boosted a bit from this mastery, so that might help him a bit to cut in front of some of the enemies on the second rotation, just as an idea, you know. I'm gonna try him out with different teams. Another thing that I don't like about it is that he has a long cooldown. 4-turn cooldown for increased resistance is gonna be very hard for us in our defense to keep the step up with the enemy strippers. You know, if they have two of them like a Kaimar, a Madame Series, it's actually gonna be very hard to keep up the increased resistance buff, because they'll be taking so many turns since our team is already slower going on a high resistance. I feel like it's gonna be pretty complicated. I do like his passive though, a 10% damage reduction from champions that have lower resistance than these champions. So that's actually a pretty nice passive. I like that we have some damage reduction. We have the shield right here, and increased speed, increased resistance. Fairly decent. I would expect in the near future to see champions that increase resistance, shield up, buff, some sort of protective buffs on our team while we have increased resistance. I feel like those are gonna be much better, and we definitely want to have them a bit faster than this particular champion. Now, I have a few champions that we're gonna use in here, guys. I'm gonna show them to you actually in a second. I just tried a couple of team presets right here. I'm gonna show you that in a second. Now, I have Isaac A right here that has 2 buff strippers. It's actually the perfect offense team because you have the nuker, you have the booster, you have 2 buff strippers, so it's definitely a very powerful team to go against similar teams like this, you know. But if we're gonna have a look at the team setup, I actually made one with resistance lead, okay? Our chances of not getting debuffed are pretty low. I know quite a few people with Madame Series, 800 plus accuracy on them, and a lot of them, they have 700 plus. Like 700 accuracy Madame is so common nowadays, guys. It's actually crazy for Platinum Arena. So we're gonna have a look at this. In terms of PvE, guys, because I've kind of forgot to mention earlier on, in terms of PvE, this is gonna be great, okay? You're gonna be able to use increased resistance against bosses for the Doom Tower, against waves for the Doom Tower if needed, against the Hydra clan boss. So it's definitely not gonna be a buff to ignore in terms of PvE. Now, in terms of PvP at the moment, I think they need to bring champions that they increase resistance from passives, or something that doesn't require us to take a turn before. You know, it's gonna be pretty hard to make your champion at that speed to kind of like slip in between their buff strippers, nukers, to make sure we're getting increased resistance before their Madame is actually gonna take a turn. So what I have right here, I have a full resistance team. I have a team with 2 champions in resistance and a speed lead instead of the resistance aura. Now, do I need that resistance aura instead of the speed when I can actually have the increased resistance? I'm already gonna be like 1000 plus resistance. That's gonna be enough, right? If they're not gonna be able to bring in increased resistance, increased accuracy champion. So we're actually gonna see what we can do with a team like this. So I'm gonna show you the stats once we go out of here. Warlord is not on high resistance. He's on a stone skin set. So you've seen this time around, we actually had a 50% chance from Kaimar with the stone skin set to don't get stripped. And because of it, we actually managed to put the increased resistance before the Madame Series actually got in. That's kind of like the main idea with this champion. You gotta ensure that he's gonna be able to take the turn right before their main buff stripper goes in. And since we've been able to do that, that Solus now is literally not gonna be able to do a lot against our main champions. And when you have your main champions alive, which that's kind of like the main thing that matters, they're gonna cycle the rest of your team. They're gonna revive, they're gonna heal, and that's gonna slow down the enemy. Now, of course, if I'm bringing in double Rotos, I'm gonna be able to kill them easier because the very high resistance champions are usually squishier than the ones that are not. So that's just as an idea. This fight might probably take him now quite a while, since I'm gonna be able to constantly lock him back and forward if I'll have the increased resistance buff on my team, you know. But you've seen that Madame Series already overlapped my increased resistance buff, and because of it, that's what happens. So having a 4-turn cooldown is not as great. If they're gonna bring in champions in the future with 3-turn cooldown, that's definitely gonna be a bit better. But even like this, it's pretty hard for them to kill me, you see. 1 minute and something holding up a fight. While you're doing this on reset, this is actually sweet. If you're gonna be able to strip all the buffs from them, you're gonna just insta-wreck them, you know, like, you're just gonna go on and on. Now, at some point, my Duchess is gonna revive, and this is gonna cycle in for quite a while. We're definitely not gonna stay during the entire fight, because we're gonna be here for quite a bit. Now, for example, if we're gonna... Okay, I gotta wait 50 seconds to fight that person. Unfortunately, we're on the test server, so I don't find a lot of teams that have different buff strippers. So I'm actually gonna wait to fight him again. But in the meantime, I'm gonna talk about the team with Ursaga. So with Ursaga, I actually have her on a deflection. So when you have a lot of champions that have damage reduction, you have Ursaga, you have Necrets, it's very common now for people to use Ramantu. More people, they finish the missions, they got Ramantu, and they actually understood that Ramantu is not a bad champion. It's actually a very powerful champion for end game, for arena, if you use the champion right, you know. So they're gonna build a Ramantu usually either fast immunity with 600 accuracy, whatever they can achieve. Either they're gonna slow him down and they're gonna give him 700 plus accuracy. Sometimes they might even use the aura, or they might use an increased accuracy buff. When they're gonna use an increased accuracy buff, it's gonna be hard for you to resist them, even with increased resistance buff. But if you have something to stop them, to don't allow them to combine their champions as good, to don't create such combos in their offense teams, that's actually pretty powerful, because they're not gonna be able to debuff you. So Ursaga being on resistance with an increased resistance, and Ramantu not being able to lock the passive on her and a Duchess, is gonna be pure cancer for that enemy, because he'll be staying in that fight for quite a while. The other way to do it, guys, would be in the next way. So if we're gonna go at the team setup, I'm actually gonna have to change that Warlord with a faster one, because I feel like this is just not gonna cut in to do the job. He's not fast enough. So basically, I have here the speed lead instead of resistance, and I have the fast Siphi. So I only have resistance on that Duchess there. If I'm gonna be able to cut now with Warlord, and to cut with the increased resistance buff before his enemy team is gonna get a turn, I could actually get a bit of an advantage. Now, it's very hard to tune this against every team. It's gonna be a lot of RNG involved as well, like who has the team tuned, who doesn't, whatever champions they're gonna use. So that's why I'm kind of like skeptical about the whole increased resistance buff as something to be game changing for arena, you know. That's why I'm saying maybe I'm missing something, maybe I'm just not paying enough attention to its full potential, because this is kind of like the only champion that we have at the moment. I'm sure they're gonna bring in some OP champions in the future. So we actually managed to cut to a certain point. Our Warlord didn't manage to cut in here, and that's pretty much what would happen. We kind of are getting wrecked, you know. The reason for it is because I only have one resistance champion, and it's not enough. So I just wanted to prove you that this, I don't think it's gonna be a good option, you know. So these are kind of like the main options that I'm seeing. Maybe you guys are seeing some other stuff. So because of it, I feel like it's not gonna be the best thing out there. I'm gonna try to see if I can find a different... If it will be for me to fight against this team, I'm just gonna go in with increase accuracy. I don't even need to have anything crazy. I'm not sure if I have my champions built right now. So I managed to assemble the team. I found the right champions with the right builds. I moved so much gear on the test server that I kind of got lost which champion had the gear, which didn't. I actually don't have a chest piece on Kymar, so I'm hoping that it's gonna be enough to do the job. That Yumeko might Caron us. That might create us a problem since I don't have a thermometer booster. But at the same time, I have a feeling that it might not happen. You know, so we're gonna see. We actually managed to do that. Duchess got resisted, but I feel like that was just pure luck there. And now we're actually gonna be able to go in and just nuke them, you know. Some of them might survive if they have Swift Parry. Reaction is gonna save them. It might not save them. So actually Reaction saved them this time around here. That's kind of like what happened. I'm actually gonna try to knock her down. Let her revive is fine. Reaction already procced on her, so it's not much that can happen from here on. Plus, the main idea is that now I can actually get my turn and knock them down again. So that's pretty much the whole thing with it. Increased accuracy is always gonna beat the increased resistance, at least in my opinion, if the teams are designed like this, you know. So let me know, what do you guys think about increased resistance in PvP, guys? You think it's gonna have some sort of huge impact? Maybe in the near future with champions that they're gonna increase resistance, buff, strengthen, buff shield, buff increased defense, something like that. I feel like they might have a better potential if they're stronger champions in terms of what sort of kit they have. In terms of PvE, I definitely like the idea of being able to resist some of the bosses, but even there, the cooldown on this particular champion is a bit too high, 4-turn cooldown, you know. But that was all for this video, guys. Let me know, how would you like the resistance meta to come back into the game? You think that's something better? Maybe we'll reduce a bit the element of RNG in all the fights, even though you've seen that I had Swift Parry, so I'm pretty sure more people will have the same. I have Swift Parry on my champions. Actually, let me show you a couple of builds there. So we actually use this Warlord. He's too slow. He's not fast enough. We use this Duchess. She has decent resistance on Swift Parry as well. The thing is, some of them, they become less tanky, and that's the problem with Rotosys. They're gonna be able to one-shot the Duchess like this because of their lower HP. I could drop defense to gain more HP, that's for sure. If we're talking about Ursaga, deflection, high resistance, perfect counter for Ramantus with that Duchess, and having increased resistance is gonna be awesome. But I feel like this format is just not gonna be the thing to do it, you know. So that's my Ursaga on deflection, pretty decent. And resistance Sifi, again, decent, not too crazy, but decent enough. Good resistance, decent speed. There are definitely crazier champions out there as an idea, guys. But yeah, let me know in the comments down below. That was all for this video. Much love, appreciate all of you guys watching, and I'll catch you soon on the next one. Peace.